great books on the spiritual path. This might be backwards in the screen, I'm not sure, but Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Everything she does, everything she says just comes from earth. You listen to her voice, you read her words. It comes from some of the deepest places inside us, regardless of whether you're a woman or a man. So a lot of these books about women, about the mystery of women, the cosmic consciousness of women, can really be enjoyed by men too, because we all have masculine and feminine nature inside us. In order to be fully human, we need to understand what masculinity is and what femininity is. And we need to uncover that inside ourselves and be at peace with both of those sides. The reason that women go on these journeys and explorations and a lot of seeking is because we live in a culture that has really stifled that feminine energy, and it's left really undiscovered and unknown and unclear, and also seems to be linked to something shameful and weak. And we really need to kind of reclaim that and understand it. And unfortunately, American culture has this understanding of masculinity that is linked to a misinterpretation of strength and machismo, and this understanding of what a man's supposed to be that is often out of balance with the truth of who a person really is. So at the end of the day, we really want to be people, and we may have one energy obviously dominating in us at that time, masculine or feminine. And so there's this dance of you're the man or you're the woman, but you're also a person. And so what Clarissa Pinkola Estes does in Women Who Run with the Wolves, which was a book that followed me from the time I was 18 years old, is she taps into this unconscious and the psyche and these archetypes that we don't even know fully exist, but which live in us. And the more spiritually evolved we become, and the more we understand some of the frameworks and the energies that are around us in our systems, in our religious institutions, in our schools, in our corporations, we start to see the way our own true nature and potential and vibrancy is hampered or hindered because of these ancient wounds, these ancestral sorts of wounds, these family or familial wounds, these pains of the past that we can't quite get over. And the more we do this seeking work, we start seeing them and we hit up against them. And she talks about those myths and the ways that women are held back. It's very similar to the way men are held back as well, but oftentimes women are the ones who are the awakeners of men in this way too, because it is hard as a man to sort of get that guidance or help and the appreciation of the feminine without a woman like an Eve who awakens and says, hey, let's explore this a little bit. In some of the biblical literature, she's seen as demonic because she does that, but books like this and other sorts of literature would show that being kind of different. So Clarissa Pinkola Estes talks about getting in tune with your wild nature. What's wild inside you is a path to holiness, and it's a path to understanding, and it's a path to new life, and it's a path to goodness. And chapter 7 is, I wanted to share with you, the joyous body or wild flesh. So instead of feeling this sense of shame about your body, it's exploring it in the way tribal cultures would explore it. So dancing and singing and chanting and sitting around a fire and exploring what comes through you when you become a channel for that divine light and healing, and you're connected to the animals around you and you're part of nature instead of detached from nature. We can't really heal the planet and heal the earth if we're not committed to healing ourselves, and if we're not understanding the network of how we are a natural being, the network of how our body is. If we're focused solely on this like ancient, not even ancient, what is it? It's like this Enlightenment era ideas that we need to be rational and logistical. That helps in some regard, but it also cuts us off from understanding that we're part of all things. And all spiritual traditions would share that. So I took this book with me 5 years ago. I can't believe it was 5 years ago, to the Grand Canyon. And I walked around the Grand Canyon by myself after the ending of 2 intense and serious relationships, and felt both the grief and also the gratitude of being a woman living in this time where I could get on a plane and go somewhere and spend, $700 and be in an entirely new place, walking around, seeing this most magnificent, beautiful creation of the Grand Canyon. And I took this book proud and grateful of the women who came before me who had made sacrifices to raise children, who would never have even thought to do something like that or to travel on their own and explore these sides of themselves. But if not for their sacrifice, I could not be me. So let me just share this little piece with you. The body is like an earth. It is a land unto itself. It is as vulnerable to overbuilding, being carved into parcels, cut off, overmined, and shorn of its power as any landscape. The wilder woman will not be easily swayed by redevelopment schemes. For her, the questions are not how to form, but how to feel. The breast in all its shapes has the function of feeling and feeding. Does it feed? Does it feel? Then it is good. From the Grand Canyon.